It's not the first rodeo for sisters Race and Rhonda. They founded Anthill Realtors in 2014, serving high net worth clients. Then moved on to property tech firm Ohmyhome in 2016 after realizing a gap in the market. That is what they saw as lack of transparency and efficiency when it came to buying, selling, renting, and even renovation services. And that's what they're hoping to do with their platform, providing end-to-end services to the mass market. It's also why they've decided to list on the Nasdaq, believing that the move will lend more visibility to the brand.
2022 was quite a difficult year with regard to IPOs, and in this year we're not out of the woods yet. So why the decision to go ahead with the listing this year? I mean, did you consider maybe holding back a little could improve the chances of getting a higher valuation? What were some considerations, in pushing ahead with the listing this year?
We're small, but we are in need of capital to grow aggressively, and we find it a great time for us. We don't see difficulties in securing interest from our investors. They firmly believe in the potential of Ohmyhome, and I think for that we just feel very comfortable regardless.
So instead of timing the market or trying to capture the best time to list your property in your company, instead I think that capital that we raise will help us to grow, and it's more of the long-term value that we're going to grow the company towards.
Ohmyhome will not be paying dividends. It says it's relying instead on the price appreciation of ordinary shares.
I think for us, not paying dividends is really just what we've been doing all these years, which is to reinvest everything that we have back into the company. We're heavily invested in our growth, and we'll continue to do that.
And growth is exactly what they're banking on. Ohmyhome outlined its plans in its filing with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. Broadly, it plans to allocate 30% of its proceeds to expansion in Southeast Asia, 10% to R&D of its products, and 10% to repay loans.
There's talents out there in the market that we were not able to tap on before. We want to raise our brand awareness. We want to be able to, expand our market share, continuously grow the company. Today we're in Singapore and Malaysia. We want to further expand that and potentially even into new markets.
There are a few markets that we look at, Thailand is a huge market, Philippines, Indonesia, a lot of VCs are looking at Vietnam. So that's where we are building that connections to see how can we collaborate. Is there a chance to, maybe take over the company and expand in that region?
So while we don't have identify any candidates right now, to announce, but there are always great opportunities in the market to expand into whether it's data, whether it's in services, but we're always on the lookout for good companies to work with, whether as partners or potential M&A candidates.
While 2022 was a dramatically slower year for IPOs, property emerged as a rare bright spot. But there are fears investments could take a hit as developers scale back projects due to falling prices, waning demand, and higher borrowing costs. The pain is being felt from the US to China. Prices continue to fall in Australia and New Zealand, while Singapore, which has been more resilient than other markets, is starting to see demand cool.
How do you think that's going to affect the demand for your services? After all, in your SEC filing, you did say that your business model and your growth strategy depends on the ability to attract home buyers and home sellers.
The real estate market, it's the most expensive asset class in the world. And every single day, people are still transacting. Right now, Singapore, we're seeing a slower growth. It's still a steady growth in terms of compared to the last 2 years. Because the last 2 years was pretty crazy. And it's only healthy that it slows down a little. I think property market is not going to be as bad as what it was envisioned last year, because everyone thought that we're going to head into a bad recession.
Locally, in terms of domestic transactions, ever since Christmas, January, I think the flow of demand asking to sell their homes or buy a new home, it's still very, very active and vibrant. In fact, it is also when the market is not doing well that people need better solutions. They need better guidance. They need more help in making sure that they can sell their homes to the most number of buyers.